Hello, and welcome to Sleep Sessions, where I record new sleep and relaxation stories every Friday. Tonight, we're going on a journey to a small Dutch town with beautiful canals and old brick buildings. This is an original sleep story called A Trip to Leiden. Get comfortable, relax, and enjoy. Not far from the western coast of the Netherlands lies a small Dutch town with an old history. You have plans to spend the day exploring old buildings and beautiful waterways and taking in a peaceful and serene slice of small town living. Your journey begins on the train. You landed in Amsterdam, some distance north, straddling the coast and the massive IJ, a body of water that divides the city in two. It forms a large channel through the center of Amsterdam, and as you approach the train station, you see the small riverboats streaming up and down the channel, sending the water into a flurry of eddies. It is a beautiful, clear day for a trip, and there is not a single cloud in the sky. The train station is a beautiful old building, a Gothic masterpiece of red brick and off-white trim with elaborate pointed towers and a weather vane and clock face at the top to orient travelers. Amsterdam Central Station has rows of high windows that naturally light the gray platforms where travelers wait. The station is enormous, and in the platforms the glass ceiling supported by wrought iron beams rises to a distance that seems to be hundreds of feet in the air. As you stand on the platform, you hear the call of seagulls alighting in the water, and the sound of boat horns as canal ships navigate their passage. The platform is not too crowded, and there is plenty of space for you and other passengers to wait on benches. The air is fresh and humid, and the weather is warm enough to make your skin tingle with the suggestion of spring. The train arrives with a heavy rattle of the tracks as the weight of the wheels presses down on wood and iron. It is a clean train, painted in a welcoming blue and yellow, that reminds you of sunrise over the ocean bay. You enter and find a seat next to a window. From that vantage point, you can watch the journey. The conductor begins to call out stops on the PA as the train accelerates out of the old Gothic marvel, leaving the tall weather vane and high windowed towers behind. From your window seat, you watch as the large canal recedes in the distance. You can see the different rooftops of the canal houses that line the city painted in bright colors, with stepped and bottleneck-shaped roofs alternating between tightly packed buildings. Beyond them, you can see the gray rise of the Royal Palace, the seat of state in the Netherlands. The palace is an old and marvelous building. It was renovated by one of Napoleon's cousins, the interior turned into a decorative French style reminiscent of the palace at Versailles, draped in luxury and gold, with beds that have plush cushions and rooms with full-length artwork, paintings by the Dutch masters. As you watch, the city slides away. Soon you are rolling through the Dutch countryside, watching the flat plains and farms pass you by. At first, the landscape is serene green grazeland. Endless fields of grass roll out lazily from the canal that runs alongside the train tracks. Much of the Netherlands is below sea level, and the systems of drainage and pumping built hundreds of years ago Enormous boulder mills that use the power of wind to push water away from fields still operate. The grassland ripples in a breeze, shimmering with every gust of wind, waving back and forth while cows and sheep amble about. The pastures are large, penned in, but with plenty of space for the animals, who move about in groups of 2 and 3. A few are sleeping, bent over on 4 legs, or sleeping standing, in that strange way they do. They are enjoying a midday nap in the sun, letting the warm air lull them to sleep while they wait until the time they become peckish and decide to help themselves to another meal. The day seems long out in the fields, in the way where time is never a pressure, and there's always plenty of time to handle things later. The animals feel no sense of urgency as they meander and chew mouthfuls of fresh feed. You pass another field, sprawling and green like the first, and then a patchwork of trees emerges. You are alongside a forested path with lanes set aside for biking and walking that wind through the short scrub trees thriving in the wet, low environment. The trees provide natural shade for the walkers, and you see scattered couples making their way along the rambling miles of nature, holding hands and talking about the beauty of the world around them. You lean your head against the wall of the train car and close your eyes for a moment. The car is steady and calm, a gentle and rhythmic rocking motion that lulls you into a sense of relaxation and peace. You have nothing you need to worry about on this trip. You can simply feel the rocking motion of the cars move you closer to your destination. Then you look out the window and see that the forests have been replaced by the famous rolling tulip fields of Holland. More than 60,000 acres of mild and moist coastal land in the Netherlands is given over for tulip growth. Your train ride south takes you through the heart of this tulip territory. In the 1600s, the Dutch famously experienced a tulip bubble when the mania for brightly colored and exotic bulbs reached a degree disconnected from the value of the plants. The tulip mania is long since past, but the tulip has remained an important symbol of Holland's agriculture. The tulip fields remain, and they are colossal in their scale, stretching as far as your eyes can see, all the way to the horizon, where they meet the clear, bright blue sky. The tulips are arranged in densely packed rows. Each row is for one color, and the farmers plant the rows in alternating patterns, so that the effect is like looking at a striped painting. In fact, from a distance, you might mistake the fields for something other than flowers entirely, so thorough is the illusion. Up close, you can see individual bulbs in a bright candy cane pink, a burnt caramel red, a sunshine yellow, each one in a row to create an alternating pattern of stripes that runs through the farm you are passing. As you rest your head against the window and let the rocking motion of the train move you back and forth, your eyes unfocus slightly, and you see the field of colors as one enormous palette, a soft rainbow that dances on the earth in front of you. It is a smudged painting, a beautiful watercolor on the grandest scale that you have ever seen. You close your eyes and enjoy the ride. The train is quiet and clean, and you drift away slightly, resting from a long day of travel before you arrive at Leiden Central Station. When you leave the station, you walk south along a cobblestone street formed from red brick, and past small Dutch city homes painted in modest colors. The first sight you see is the Rijnburgersingel, a wide canal that crosses under the street through a series of raised bridges. You walk up high over the bridges and watch the water flow. It is a clear dark blue in the gentle sunlight, and there is a constant traffic of pedestrians and bicycles over the bridge. On the side are several hanging baskets of flowers soaking in the sun. Beneath you, a small boat passes under the closest bridge. The elderly couple on board are enjoying a glass of wine in the good weather and breaking off crusts of bread with cheese. They wave to you as they see you watching them pass, and you wave back. You raise your eyes from the running water and look into the distance. On the outskirts of the city is a large windmill built from old stone and brick, with enormous cloth sails circling lazily around the center. This is De Valk, the Falcon. It is an entirely functional windmill that has still been used for milling, but is also a museum. The structure is almost 400 years old. The top of the mill is crowned with a small dome, like a lighthouse, and the cloth sails are tapered like blades to slice through the air. Even in the gentle breeze, they move with a deceptive swiftness to turn the powerful gears. Below the sails is a small balcony, and below that, the base of a stone tower. You walk toward the mill, which is built at the top of a small green hill surrounded by the intersection of canals. In the midst of the picnickers and bicyclists, you enter and tour the bottom of the structure. You see the enormous iron gears turned by the power of spinning sails, and pulleys that lift sacks of grain to the top of the mill so they can be ground by stone. You learn about the history of mills in the Netherlands and the vast tracts of land continually reclaimed from the ocean by the boulder mills. They use the same principle used here to grind grain, to generate enough power to turn a water wheel and keep a field dry and plantable. You decide to walk out onto the balcony. You are high in the air, and you can see the entire city center. It is ringed by canals, and the houses are painted in bright bursts of white and yellow and red. They are narrow and closely built, so that little space is wasted. Leiden is a small city, but a dense and lively one, full of students, scientists, and artists. You see more boats as you watch the water. Many are simply people taking their own craft out for the day, but you see tour boats as well. The water looks so peaceful and inviting that you decide to join one. A friendly man in a nearby plaza helps you arrange a tour. You lean back in the water and push off while a local guide explains what you see. From the water, the city looks different. It is tall above you, and the houses press close on the canal. You see the different shapes of the roof fronts that poke out. Some are curved like bottlenecks, others are stepped and tiered with brick like staircases. Your guide points out the Way House, the first structure built in Leiden. It is 900 years old, an astonishing testament to the durability of stone and mortar. A small building at the intersection of two canals, the Way House was the centerpiece of Leiden's growth. Leiden sits at the meeting of the Rhine and the Singel, two large rivers, and merchants floating goods up and down the rivers would meet here at the very spot marked by the bridge you are now crossing. The weigh house was built to weigh and trade goods fairly and provide a basis for an equal, fair exchange. Around that structure, the city blossomed, with workers and traders moving in. Now, in modern times, the weigh house is a small restaurant with cozy lighting, modern cuisine. The bridge outside has become a hangout for tipsy students and couples enjoying afternoon walks. Your boat tour continues. The small sloop winds around a bend in the canal and straightens out along a long stretch of water that reaches as far as your eyes can see. On your left, your guide explains, are the botanical gardens of the university. The Leiden Botanical Garden is one of the oldest in the world. It was established in the 1590s for the education of the students at the university. Your tour guide explains that during the period of the Dutch East India Company's rule in Indonesia, many varieties of plants that would never be found in Europe were brought to the garden. Other traders brought plants from other parts of the world, and now the garden is a testament to the diversity of the world's plant life. Floating past a pond, you see enormous tropical lilies. Great green petals open wide to the world. You see the delicate pear-shaped outline of a pure white Asian orchid, a plant the color of a wedding dress. You watch the marvels go by while people have picnics on the bank of grass that borders the river from the botanical garden. They eat small sandwiches spread out on picnic cloths and watch the boats that go up and down this stretch of river. Your guide points out some other local landmarks, the observatory where students watch the stars and the library where they study. Both pass by as you sail down the river. After an hour, you arrive back at the mill. You exit the boat, thanking your guide, and decide to walk the town. The cobblestones are slightly uneven under your feet. You pass the many stone archways and small alleys that build out the interior of the town on small canal islands. Some are the old ducts that lead to ancient bathhouses from centuries past. Some are the gardens for old poorhouses and spin houses, where public charges lived hundreds of years ago. The archways are inviting to the imagination, old stone ringed with gentle moss and the enduring power of good brickwork. The city is beautiful in any light, and you notice that the people have placed flowers along the canals. To your surprise, you pass a pilgrim museum. When the first British pilgrims prepared to leave for America, they came to Leiden in order to supply and prepare for the journey. In Leiden, the pilgrims worked to weave and dye textiles, and found a Dutch culture of religious tolerance that allowed them to practice their faith freely. In a sense, the Mayflower journey started here, hundreds of years ago. You continue further down the streets. It is a small, crowded street full of restaurants and cafes. One has a sign out advertising jazz that evening. You consider returning to watch the band play while you enjoy a cup of coffee. It is a relaxing and enticing idea. But first you continue ahead and see the ancient stone structure of the Leiden Castle. In truth, it is an unusual castle. It is a stone ring built on the highest hill in the city. You climb to the top and look out, observing the steeples of the old churches. A plaque informs you that the structure was built to defend against the water because of how much land is reclaimed from the sea in the Netherlands. In times of rising river waters from strong weather, the people could take shelter at the highest point in the city. Now it is an old monument that provides a marvelous view of the square brick churches and slanted row homes that lean out over the water. You stand there for some time, watching the clouds pass through the sky and planes pass overhead. There's a soft, gentle breeze. The weather is good. The sun is now starting to dip down, and the brick of the city becomes golden orange in the early evening glow. You decide to return to the cafe, where you enjoy a cup of rich coffee and a small jazz band playing relaxed, melodic tunes that make you tap your foot. This is how you spend the rest of your evening, enjoying your wonderful day trip to Leiden. The end.